Shares of Palantir are falling today after reports that CEO Alex Karp has a new trading plan that provides for the sale of up to $1.2 billion of shares. In addition to that, of course, we've been hearing some talk of cuts to defense spending. For more on all of this, we're bringing in Louie DiPalma, research analyst for industrials at William Blair. Louie, it's good to see you. Obviously,
Great to see you too.
Palantir's sort of a controversial stock, right? People have been complaining sort of about the valuation there. Then you get this report that Pete Hegseth wants the Defense Department to draw up a plan for cuts. What does all of this mean for Palantir?
Yes, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. I've been a big fan of Yahoo Finance since I was in college at Providence College many years ago. But
amazing. Thank you.
For your question, what does, the Department of Defense budget and Pete Hegseth and DOGE mean for Palantir? It relates to how approximately 55% of Palantir's revenue is derived from government customers, and the majority of that government revenue comes from the U.S. government. There are also international government customers, but then within the U.S. government revenue, the vast majority comes from the U.S. Army specifically. Now, with Trump 2.0 and the new regime, generally speaking, there's a perception amongst investors, and some of this has been voiced by the new administration, that there's going to be a shift towards the U.S. Navy and the Air Force. And, while Palantir does do work for those customers, it's a much lower percentage of their total government base. And so there are questions about whether some of, Palantir's new initiatives with the Army, may proceed, at the current pace. For instance, one of Palantir's big contracts is called Project Titan, in which they are providing trucks that are equipped with an array of sensors for the purposes of targeting. And this program is expected to cost between $1 billion and $1.5 billion over a 5-year period. And so there are questions such that, in the new Trump regime, is this program going to start on time? And is there going to be adequate funding, if there are shifting priorities towards, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marine Corps, et cetera? So there are many moving parts here. As you said, it's a controversial stock.
And Louie, we've been hearing a lot of quote unquote noise from this administration. Even if you think about something like tariffs, the only duties that have been implemented is that 10% levy on China. Everything else is sort of up in the air at this point. So do you think this could be just more noise?
Yeah, so last night, several media outlets reported that the new administration is looking for 8% budget cuts. But other media publications indicated that there aren't going to be budget cuts. There's just going to be a shifting in priorities. And so $50 billion that may have gone to one bucket of programs will be shifted towards drones, missile defense, such as the Iron Dome initiative, counter drones, cybersecurity. The Virginia-class program with General Dynamics Electric Boat was highlighted. The Collaborative Combative Aircraft program, that was highlighted. And so, that could favor, vendors such as Kratos, Anduril, and a bunch of others. So there's just expected to be, a shifting of priorities. Last week, Secretary of Defense Hegseth indicated that the Trump administration wants to outspend the Biden administration in terms of defense. And there were members of the Senate Armed Services Committee that wants to actually increase the defense budget by over $100 billion. And so there seems to be strong support to continue increasing the defense budget.
Right.
But headlines right now are driving a lot of the market moves.
Well, so Louie, all of this said, you have an underperform on Palantir specifically, right? But it doesn't sound like you're bearish on the defense spending piece of it. Is it a valuation call, or why do you think people shouldn't come in here and buy Palantir?
Yes, I would point to how from like the time period of 2021 through December of 2023, Palantir shares went down by 82%. And during that time period, Palantir's government revenue, it grew at 77% in 2020, and then it decelerated all the way until it hit, a bottom at 10%. And, we feel that Palantir's, revenue growth on both the commercial side and the defense side, may repeat its history and, decelerate from these current elevated levels. And, when or if that deceleration happens, the valuation support for Palantir, could be 60 or 70% lower than where it is today. And so, we would prefer, other names over Palantir.
Gotcha.
Louie, thank you so much for your insights. Appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me on.